Purchasing and restoring these lands, especially in the Bay Area, comes with a big price tag. The money to do this work comes from a combination of sources, including private foundations, individual contributions, California taxpayers, and the federal government. To talk about this, here's the coordinator for the San Francisco Bay Joint Venture, Beth Hunning.
In the past 15 years, more than 30,000 acres have been protected in San Pablo Bay. That's a lot of habitat. Wetlands help protect against sea level rise and storm surges along Highway 37, much of which is below sea level. Government agencies, the environmental organizations, landowners, and the business communities work together to set our habitat goals, and they take the lead on making the projects happen. And we were able to get stimulus funding through the federal stimulus package to work on wetland habitat restoration in the area. So this was a very important funding source because a lot of people don't think of wetlands as infrastructure. They think of roads, railroads, bridges, highways, but wetlands can be infrastructure too, because they provide a really important flood control protection as well as buffer the areas such as the inboard agricultural areas from tidal surges. So this is just one way that projects are funded through federal appropriations. Then the voters of the state have passed bond measures. We've had Props 40, 50, 84, water bonds that have helped provide for water quality, which has protected some of the water quality in the bay through the wetland infrastructure, again, filtering the water and protecting for a clean bay.
And Beth says what they're really trying to do is to build an environmental portfolio.
We work with the direct appropriations from the federal government and state agencies, the private funding from the foundations, as well as voter-approved funding. So this is really important to put this all together. We even have the state agencies that are the regulatory agencies, such as the Water Board and the Bay Conservation and Development Commission, that may collect fines for permit violations or for people that are doing things to the bay for which they get fined. And they provide funding for some of these projects as well. And this is how we get the work done.
And while this tour has been an overview of what's happening right now, the joint venture and its partners are also thinking very long-term, which of course includes the subject of climate change.
A number of the joint venture partners have been looking into San Pablo Bay as one of the places where there's room for marshes to migrate and protect some of the human development further inland by restoring wetlands, because they act as sponges and they absorb a lot of the tidal surges. And as sea level rises, they also bring in mud and build up the level of the marsh plain so that they can potentially keep pace with sea level rise. But the biggest concern right now is the fact that we're seeing more extreme storms. And this is probably going to happen more and more over the next 50 years. And consequently, these tidal marshes that we're restoring now, while they may be expensive, they are going to protect people's homes, the farms, the ranches that are inland, and help to buffer against sea level rise and to act as a barrier to some of these storm surges. We're finding that the cost of restoring wetlands now, while it may seem like it's a lot of money, is a lot cheaper than rebuilding areas that are damaged by storms or building and maintaining levees and other physical infrastructures. So not only do we have wetlands that are creating a natural infrastructure and an absorption sponge and a natural barrier, at the same time, they're protecting habitat for endangered species. So we have multifaceted projects.
Since 1996, for partners of the San Francisco Bay Joint Venture, the time has been filled with accomplishments toward the goal of protecting and restoring wetlands around San Francisco Bay. Ideally, in the future, the North Bay will include a mix of public and private lands managed in a way that supports the most wildlife and provides the people of Northern California and all those who visit here the opportunity to get out and enjoy wildlife-oriented recreation. Thanks to the efforts of the many partners in the joint venture, there is good news for wetlands in the North Bay. We hope you've enjoyed this tour and encourage you to visit yourwetlands.org often, and also tell your friends about our site. And we'll keep you up to date about wetland restoration in the Bay Area. For the San Francisco Bay Joint Venture, I'm Jerry Kay.